Do you know what your name means, or have your parents chose it? Sikh names usually have a special meaning and they are chosen by the help of Guru Granth Sahib, the Sikh holy book. Ajmeet goes to the Gurdwara to find out exactly what happens at the Sikh naming ceremony, the Naam Karan.
My name's Harinder. Har means God. I understand my name in full means he or she of all strengths.
My name is Harjinder Singh Kirewal. Har is name of God, a Chand is a mean moon, and Singh is lion.
This is my niece, Manpreet Kaur. Her name means the love of our hearts and minds.
My name is Aman Chopra, and my name is meaning is the peace. It's a peaceful environment, we can say that.
This is my daughter, Pia Kaur, and her name means beloved.
My name is Ravinder. Ra means son, and Indra means God. So it's the son of God.
My name is Ajmeet Singh. Ajmeet means today's friend, and Singh means lion. It lets everyone know that I'm a Sikh. When I was just 5 days old, my parents brought me to the Gurdwara, the temple, and I was named in a special ceremony called Naam Karan, which means name making. Obviously, I can't remember it, so I've come to the Gurdwara to find out exactly what happens. Babies are brought here because it's the center of the Sikh community and because this is where the Guru Granth Sahib, our holy book, is kept. It plays a very important part in the naming ceremony. My friend Harjinder Singh explains.
Whenever you enter the Diwan hall, as we call it, or the prayer hall, if you want to say it in English, you always see a throne-like contraption at the end of it. It is a throne, and on that throne sits the holy book. When it's not in use, when it's not being read, it is covered by wonderful kapra, by wonderful cloth. We sit on the floor, the Guru sits a bit higher.
Can you tell me a bit about the history and the importance of Guru Granth Sahib Ji?
The Guru Granth is the most important item in Sikh teachings. The Guru, the teacher, Granth, book, is our Pope, our Bishop, even our King. So whether you are dealing with a name-giving ceremony, as we're discussing today, or it is about a death or a marriage or what have you, the central point in the ceremony is always going to be the Guru Granth. The Granthi, the man who looks after the Granth, the book, in other words, he puts the Guru Granth Sahib on its side and opens it at random. Yeah? And then the hymn that you find on the top left-hand side of the page is the hymn that leads that ceremony or that day.
This is Pritpal Singh, Gurmeet Kaur, and their baby daughter Ganeev Kaur. Ganeev had a Naam Karan here just a few weeks ago. There's no set time for the naming ceremony to take place, but it usually happens as soon as possible after the birth. So, what did you do on the day of your daughter's naming ceremony?
In a Sikh household, when a baby is born, when both the mother and the child, they are healthy enough, they are good enough to go to the local Gurdwara, we just go there and to have the naming ceremony done.
The whole family went to the Gurdwara to introduce the new baby to the community and to present her to the Guru Granth Sahib. We all bow to the book to show our respect, and it's never too early to learn.
We offered a romala, a piece of cloth, to Guru Granth Sahib, that's Sikh holy scriptures.
The family usually gives a gift. It might be food for everyone at the Gurdwara to share or a donation of money. Pritpal's family gave a romala. That's a cloth which is used to wrap up the Guru Granth Sahib to protect it when it isn't being read. The Granthi opens the Guru Granth Sahib at random, and the first letter of the first word on the page will be the first letter of the baby's name.
We were blessed with this time Gurpure Kirpa Tari. So the letter was G. At the end we decided Ganeev, which means a priceless worth. The first letter is Ganeev and the full name is Ganeev Kaur.
Sikhs are also given the names Singh and Kaur.
Sikhism believes in equality. Our 10th Guru gives a boy's name Singh, which means lion, and the girl's name Kaur, which means princess.
That will be very important because then the people will not get discriminated because their background or their class status by the surname. At the end of the ceremony, we were blessed with the prashad, which is a holy food, and it's like a small pudding, very sweet but delicious.
The sweet taste is a reminder of God's blessings. Everyone is given a piece of karhah prashad from the same bowl to show that we are all equal and all part of the same community, which we call the Sangat. And that's the Naam Karan. Sikh names are special because they're chosen with the help of the Guru Granth Sahib. And our names show that we are all part of the Sikh community, just like little Ganeev Kaur.
Guru Ji Ka Khalsa, Guru Ji Ki Fateh. It was very lovely watching the film of the Naam Karan, and today we are here with Bhai Harjinder Singh, who's going to be telling us a little bit more about the film. So why do you think it's important to have a letter from the Guru Granth Sahib Ji?
You have phrased that correctly, because in the Rehat Maryada, it doesn't say that you have to take a whole word or anything. It says you take the Shabbat, and you take the wak, as we usually do, and as we have seen in the film, and then you take the first letter of the first sentence.
Okay.
Yeah? So it doesn't say it has to be har or gur or man or anything like that.
Right.
It just says the first letter of. But most people do exactly what I just described. For instance, in my case, when I took Amrit, because I hadn't a name, of course, a Sikh name, because I'm not born in a Sikh family, and after doing the Amrit, after the Amrit ceremony, they took the wak, and the first word that came up was har.
Okay.
Which is hardly surprising because it comes into Guru Granth Sahib so often.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said to me, "Do you know a name with har?" And I said, "No, but you choose one." And they came up with Harjinder. Yeah.
So
and that, in that way, most people choose the Naam. Yeah. So again, a word like man, means something like soul, or mind. That again is a word very often used in Guru Granth Sahib, and that's why you have all these man preets and man meets and man jinders and what have you. Yeah? Gur, another very common word in the Guru Granth Sahib. So the people do a bit more than is really required. Yeah? They use the first word rather than just the first letter. But I think that is nice because that makes for meaningful names. And we've seen also in the film a few people who give examples of what their name means to them, and that is interesting.
Well, tell me a little bit more about Rehat Maryada, as you just mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah, the Rehat Maryada, a lot of people talk about Maryada, but not many people actually read that little booklet. And it is not a big tome like the Guru Granth Sahib. It is only just a little leaflet like this, so it is not really a big job to read it. But it is very useful because it gives you a lot of practical advice and practical rules for your daily life. I think the whole idea of the Rehat Maryada in this respect is, we don't have child baptism as you have in Christianity.
Okay, yes.
So but people want some kind of ceremony to start the life of a newborn and to present the newborn baby to the Sangat, you can say. Yeah? And that is the function. With us, it's not the baptism, but it is the name giving. And then really everything in Sikhi is around the Guru Granth Sahib. Yeah. So it is perfectly logical, not like what do you do when somebody dies? You read from the Guru Granth Sahib. Yes. What do you do when there's a baby born? You read from the Guru Granth Sahib. What do you do at a wedding? You read from the Guru Granth Sahib. Or you sing from the Guru Granth Sahib. Yeah? The Guru Granth Sahib is the focus point of Sikhi. By taking the wak, yeah, you also sort of give this child a motto. Yeah? The text of the wak, the meaning of the wak is the hukum for the rest of the life of the little one.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it extra meaningful. And I find it a nice way, you know, like in the tradition that I grew up with. I am Cornelis, that is my original first name, because my grandfather was Cornelis. And his grandfather was Cornelis, and his grandfather was Cornelis. I can look it up back till 1200 or thereabouts.
Wow.
Yeah? My father was Willem Jacob, yeah, because his grandfather was Willem Jacob, etc., etc. And there were very strict rules how to do this, you know, with first child, second child, and what have you. But I think our tradition fits in with our way of life, and by using these names, you know, it gives a bit of extra meaning.
Okay. So Rehat Maryada is something that every single person, you know, have to follow.
If you take, you don't have to. It's your choice at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah? If you're born in a Sikh family, you can choose not to be a Sikh.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
At the end of the day, I'm an Amritari Sikh,
Mm-hmm.
so I've made certain choices, and then people say you have to have long hair. But I said no, I've chosen for it. You understand what I'm trying to say? You know, like you make the choice, and with that choice comes, as Amritari, to wear the panch kakar, plus to have the sort of behavior that is expected from an Amritari Sikh. So, if you want to take Sikhi seriously in your life, then you check with the Rehat Maryada and try to do things according to the Rehat Maryada. Yeah? The Rehat Maryada in some places also says things like, if this is not practical in the country you live, then you can do, and then they make some other suggestion. Yeah, for instance, like in some countries you can't cremate bodies.
Okay.
Yeah, at the death. Yeah, so it's not, you know, in some cases there are absolute rules. Yeah, you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't smoke, you shouldn't use any intoxicants. That is an absolute rule. But there are other things that are sort of advice. You know, like for Sikh, cremation is the first choice. But if it's not possible, you know, then there is another alternative.
Well, nowadays when I look at it, you know, there are very different names, such as English or Bollywood names that parents tend to use to their child's name. And such as my name is Chandni, but obviously when I was born I didn't have a choice to name myself.
No.
But, you know, what do you think about that?
There are two varieties of this, you know, like you have, for instance, amongst boys, you have the old-fashioned name, if you want, of Bhupinder, yeah? And they often end up being Bob.
Okay,
things
right.
like that. Yeah?
Nicknames.
Nicknames, yeah. They are, you know, it also starts with B, so there is some relation between Bob and Bhupinder. Yeah? And that is, you know, like I used to know this guy in Batala, you know, north of Amritsar, and he was built like the proverbial Jat, you know, like very tall and very wide and all that. His nickname was Lovely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm you know, it's a Punjabi cultural habit, and I can sort of understand why it is as well, because there is in a lot of traditions there is this idea that if you know somebody's official name, you have some kind of power over him. Yeah. Because, you know, like in Punjabi conversation, you can talk to people and not use names at all. You can say Parji or Benji or you know, Singh Sahib, you know, all these words. Yeah? So using name, there is a certain, I'm sure in the past there was some kind of taboo over it.
You know, when I think over it...
I think, you know, the names that we've been given by Guru are meaningful, and they are quite lovely.
But when I think over it, a lot of youth nowadays, they think that their own name, such as the real name, which is from the Guru Granth Sahib, they don't really like it. They think it's very embarrassing, and, you know, it's something that they don't want to show in front of their friends. So they would rather use a nickname, such as if their name was, let's say, Sandeep, they use it as Sunny instead.
Yeah.
So what would you...
And you have all these navs and what have you. Yeah. I mean, like my landlord is Jag. Yeah. He's not Jag, he's Jagmeet. Yeah. And it means something, but everybody calls him Jag. It's quite normal. It's again, you know, it is people's choice. Yeah? The Rehat Maryada is not a law that you can impose. I can't take you to the court and say put this person in the prison because they call themselves Jug instead of Jagmeet. Yeah? It is just people's choice. But again, you know what I said earlier, if you take Sikhi seriously, then you look to the meaning of your name and then you'll find the beauty in it.
Right.
Yeah? But if you have no connection with Sikhi, then you don't see the beauty.
Yes.
Yeah? And, you know, like, Sikhi it's not, many Punjabis think that my father and mother were Sikhs, so I have to be a Sikh too.
Okay.
That is the worst possible reason to go for Sikhi.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah? You should go for Sikhi because you love Sikhi. Yeah? Regardless whether your parents were Sikh or not. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And the other thing that, you know, was sort of in your question, it's the Bollywood names. Yeah, like the famous actresses and actors and
looking up for them and stuff.
Yeah, and that comes, and you can even do it following the Rehat Maryada by the letter. Insofar, the Rehat Maryada, you know, the wag gives you a letter, the first letter. That's what it says in the Rehat Maryada. The first letter of the first word in the wag indicates the name.
Okay.
Yeah? So, if you have a letter, then you can go to a Bollywood magazine, and I'm sure you will find some name of a famous actor that starts with that letter.
Yes.
Yeah? And then, technically speaking, you're covered. You've done what the Rehat Maryada says. But it is following the letter rather than the spirit, I think. So the spirit of the thing is to come to something that has a spiritual meaning.
So is there any other rite that we have to perform when a child is born?
No, there is nothing about that. There is 3 clauses that pertain to the birth of a child. The first one is the positive one that tells you what to do, and that is what we've been talking about. That is this Naam Karan ceremony, and under B and C are things that you shouldn't do. They start from the idea that a woman who is given birth is unclean or something like that, and just we don't believe in that.
Okay.
The birth is a perfectly natural and healthy process, and it is part of creation. It is given to us by God, and there is no reason for purification or what have you.
Okay, and you know, when a child is born, you know, we have to, you know, as the Rehat Maryada, we have to go gurdwara, and you know, we have to get our letter out from the Guru Granth Sahib. But in a lot of hospitals, they tend to ask the name right when the child is born.
That is, you know, we both have continental connections. In most continental countries, they will ask almost immediately after the birth for the name, and then the nurse or whoever is in charge will give that name to the authorities. In this country, it is a bit easier. Mm-hmm. But what you can do, and what I've done in Belgium, is that while the mother was still in hospital, you know, the Granthi and me opened the Guru Granth Sahib. We did the whole ceremony, but then without the mother there. Okay. And provide the name that way. Okay. Yeah, it's strictly speaking, it says in the rule, the mother should, you know, but the rule is actually, it's quite beautiful. It says like, as soon as the mother is well enough.
Right.
You know, in some cases, it was a really heavy birth. Yeah, she might be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. Okay. You know, the Guru Granth Sahib is very human or the Rehat Maryada is very humane in this respect. Yeah, and I like that phrasing. But if because of the laws in the countries that we live now, this is not possible, that you have to give the name straight away, then one member of the family will go to the Gurdwara, arrange it with the Granthi, and we phone the name through to the hospital. Okay,
and tell me why, you know, our surnames are Singh and Kaur. Why have you been given that?
Yeah. There are a number of reasons for that. The obvious reason is that mostly from people from wherever in India, by their last name you can tell their caste. So it was a very effective weapon. You know, you couldn't see anymore, or you are Sidhu or Sandhu or whatever. Okay. So you are this caste, or you are Semi or Tulsi, and you are that caste. Yeah? Kaur and Singh is neutral. There is something else to it. Kaur and Singh are names that are used by Kshatriyas, by Rajputs. Yeah, like in the state which is now Rajasthan and used to be known as Rajputana. Yeah? All these Maharajas there, all the Maharajas are Singh, and even some of their wives, not as universal as with this, but quite a few of the wives, they are called Kaur. Yeah? And so, because the Guru wanted to uplift us. The Guru, wearing of pag, same thing. Pags were not used by the people of the lower levels of society. They were worn by Maharajas or by spiritual leaders or what have you. So the Guru wants to uplift us to the same level. He said, but there is no high and low, we are all high. All of us that try to follow God, we are on a high level, and we are on the same level as these Rajputs or so spiritual leaders or what have you. And we call ourselves Kaur and Singh by the same names as the Kshatriyas do.
Thank you for your time and explanation. And before you go, I would like to mention that you can watch the same film and other educational materials on truetube.co.uk. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.